Uh, Yo, what's up, y'all? I'm just doing this to help my stutter, and I figure fuck it anyway. Might as well go and read along. Ignore my TV. Uh, I realized last time I started in the middle of the book. That was kind of stupid. Mm. So I'm reading a different book. It's called The Poison Princess. I love this series. It's by Chris Lee Cole. I'm waiting on. I've read every book except for the newest one that I'm waiting to come out. Still don't know anything about it, but yeah, if that's a hit. The book is about tarot cards and shit. I love it again. So let's get right into it from chapter one. We're gonna ignore all the pre-log shit. All right. So day one. Chapter one. Day six and BF, and you'll find out what that is later. But we're in Sterling, Louisiana. Anyway, how are you feeling? Mom asked with an appraising eye. You sure you're up for this? I finished my hair, passed on a smile, and lied through my teeth. Definitely. Though we'd been over this, I patiently said, Does the docs told me that settling back into a normal routine might be good for someone like me? Well, at least 3 out of my 5 shrinks had. The other 2 insisted that I was still unstable. A loaded gun, troubled with the possibility of rubble. Sorry, my bad. Rubble. I just need to get back to school around all my friends. Whenever I quoted shrinks to her, Mom relaxed somewhat, as if it was proof that I'd actually listened to them. I could remember a lot of what the doc said because they'd made me forget so much of my life before the clinic. With her hands clasped behind her head, Mom began strolling my around my room. Her gaze flickering over my belongings and pretty blonde Sherlock Holmes sniffing for any secrets she didn't yet know. She'd she'd find nothing. I'd already hid my contraband in my book bag. Did you have a nightmare last night? Had she heard me shoot upright with a cry? Nope. When you were catching up with your friends, did you confide to anyone where you really were? Mom and I had told everyone that I'd gone to a special school for the deportment. After all, you can't prep a daughter too early for those competitive sororities in the South. In reality, I had been locked up in a children's learning center, a behavior clinic for kids, also known as Child's Last Chance. I haven't told anyone about COC. I said horrified by the idea of my friends or my boyfriend finding out. Especially not him. Brandon Radcliffe, with his hazel eyes, movie star grin, and curling light brown hair. Good. It's our business only. She paused begin before my room's big wall mural tilting her head uneasily. Instead of a nice watercolor or retro funk design, I'd painted an eerie landscape of tangled vines, looming oaks, and darkening skies. I never even realized this. Let's talk now. And descending over hills of cane. I knew she'd consider painting over the mural, but feared I'd reach my limit and mutiny. Have you taken your medicine this morning? Like I always do, Mom, though I couldn't say my bitter little pills had done much for my nightmares. They did stave off the delusions that had plagued me last spring. Those terrifying hallucinations had been so lifelike, leaving me temporarily blinded to the world around me. I'd barely completed my sophomore year brazening out of visions, training myself to act like nothing was wrong. In one of those delusions, I had seen flames blazing across the night sky beneath the waves of fire. Fleeing rats and serpents had roiled over Haven's front lawn until the ground looked like it was rippling. In another, the sun had shone at night, searing people's eyes till they ran with pus, mutating their bodies and rotting their brains. They became zombie-like blood drinkers with skin that looked like crinkled paper bags and oozing a rancid slime. I called them boogeymen. My short-term goals was simple. Don't get excited. Don't get exiled. back to COC. My long term goal was a bit more challenging. Survive the rest of the night. School. Oh, fuck. Survive the rest of high school so I could escape to college. And you and Brandon are still an item? Mom almost sounded disbelieving, as if she didn't understand why he would still be going out with me after 3 months' absence. He'll be here soon, I said with an insistent tone. Now she'd gotten me nervous. Now she'd gotten me nervous. No, all summer he faithfully texted me through, though I'd only been allowed to respond twice a month. And at and ever since my return last week, he'd been wonderful, my cheerful, smiling boyfriend, bringing me flowers and taking me to the movies. I like Brandon. He's such a good boy. At last, Mom concluded. This morning's interrogations. I'm glad you're back. You're back, honey. It's been so quiet around Haven without you. Quiet? I yearned to say. Really, Karen? You know what's more than quiet? Fluorescent bulbs crackling 24 hours a day in the center. Or maybe the sound of my cutter roommate weeping as she attacked her thighs with the squirt. How about disconnected laughter with no punchline? But then the last one had been me. In the end, I said nothing about the center. First 2 years and no, just 2 years and out. Mom, Mom, I've got a good day. Oh shit, this gonna piss me off. Fucking stink. Where was I? Yada 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 yada. Okay. Mom, I've got a good day. I shuttered my backpack and I went to be outside with the Brad's shows. I'd already made him wait for me all summer. Oh, of course. She shadowed me over the grand staircase, our steps echoing in unison. At the door, she tucked my hair behind my ears and gave me a kiss on the forehead, as if I were a little girl. Your shampoo smells nice. Might have to borrow some. Sure. I forced another smile, then walked outside. The foggy air was still, as if the earth had exhaled but forgotten to inhale once more. I descended the front steps, then turned to gaze at the imposing home I'd missed so much. Haven House was a grand 22-room mansion fronted by 12 stately columns, its colors wood, siding of the lightest cream. Hurricane shutters of the darkest forest green had reminded me unchanged since it originally been built for my great-great-great-great-grandmother. 12 massive oak trees encircled the structure, their sprawling limbs growing together in place like hundred-ton hydras trapping prey. The locals thought Haven House was haunted. Seeing the place bathed in fog, I had to admit that was fair. As I waited, I meandered across the front lawn to a nearby cane row, leaning in the smell of purple stalk. Crisp but sweet. One of the feathery green leaves was circled so that it looked like it was embracing my hand. That made me smile. You'll get rain soon, I murmured, hoping stirringly drought would finally end. My smile deepened when I saw the sleek Porsche convertible speeding down our oyster shell drive, a blur of red. Brandon, he was the most inevitable catch of our parish. Senior quarterback, rich, the trifecta of boyfriends. When he pulled up, I opened the passenger door with a grin. Hey, big guy. But he frowned. You look tired. I didn't get to bed till late, I replied, darting a glance over my shoulder as I tossed my bag into the minuscule back seat. When the kitchen curtain fluttered to the side, I just stopped myself from rolling my eyes. 2 years and out. You feeling okay? His gaze was filled with concern. We can pick up some coffee on the way. I shut the door behind me. Sure, whatever. he hadn't complimented me on my hair or outfit. My Chloe baby blue sleeveless dress with the hem no more than 4 regulation inches above the knee. The silky black ribbon that held my hair back in a curling ponytail. My matching black me ankle wrap heels. My diamond earrings that Patek Philly wristwatch served as my only jewelry. I'd spent weeks planning this outfit, 2 days in Atlanta acquiring it, and the last hour convincing myself I'd never looked better. He hiked his wide shoulders, the matter forgotten, then peeled down Havens Drive, tires spitting up the arc of shell fragments as we zoomed past after acre after acre of cane. Once he'd reached the highway, I seemed in worn out stretch of old Louisiana road. He said, "You're so quiet this morning. I had a weird dream last night. Nightmares and nothing new there. Without fail, my good dreams were filled with plants. I'd seen ivy and roses growing before my eyes or crops sprouting all around me. But lately, in my nightmares, a crazed red-headed woman with gleaming green eyes used those same plants to hurt people in grisly ways. When her victims begged for mercy, she would cackle in delight. She was coated pars- with she was coated and partially hooded, so I couldn't make out all of her face. But she had pale skin and green ivy-like tattoos running down both her cheeks. Her wild red hair was strewn with leaves. I called her the Red Witch. Sorry, I was with, I said with a shiver. They kind of put me in a funk. Oh, his demeanor told me he felt way out of his depth. I had once asked him if he had nightmares, and he'd looked at me blankly, unable to remember one. That was the thing about Brandon. He was. What the fuck? Why my eyes fog blasting out? Fuck. That was the thing about Brandon. He was the most happy go-getter boy I'd ever met. Through he was built like a bear or a pro football player. His temperature was more adoring. Kane was more adoring canine than grizzly. Secretly, I put a lot of store in him, hoping his normal could drag me back from my wasteland visions brink, which was why I fretted about him finding another girl and breaking up with me while I was locked up at COC. Now it seemed like at least one thing was going to work out. Brandon had stayed true to me. With every mile we drove away from Haven, the sun shone brighter and brighter, the fog lifting. Well, I know how to put my girl in a good mood. He gave me his mischievous grin. I was helpless and not to be charmed. Oh yeah, big guy, how's that? He pulled off the road under the shade of a pecan tree, the tires popping the fallen acorns. After waiting for all the dust to pass, he pressed the button and put the convertible top. How fast do you want to go, Eves? A few things that exhilarated me more than flying down the highway with the top down. For about a nanosecond, I considered how to repair the utter loss of my hairstyling braids. A loose fell fishtail over your shoulder, then told him, kick her in the guts. He peeled out, and the engine purring with power, hands raised, I threw my head back and yelled faster. At each gear, he redlined before shifting until the car stretched her legs. As houses whizzed past, I laughed with delight. The months before were a dim memory compared to this. The sun, the wind, Brandon sliding in excited grin. He was right. This was just what I needed. Leave it in my teddy bear of a of a football player to make me feel carefree and sane again. And didn't that deserve a kiss? Unbuckling my seatbelt, I clambered up on my knees, tugging my dress up a couple of inches so I could lean over to him. I pressed my lips against the smooth, shaven skin of his cheek. Just what the doctor ordered, Bran. You know it. I kissed his broad jaw. Then, as my experienced best friend Melissa had instructed, I nuzzled his ear, letting him feel my breath. Ah, Eves, he rasped. You drive me crazy, you know that? I was getting an idea. I knew I played with fire, teasing him like this. He'd already been reminding me of a promise I'd made right before I left for department school. If we were still going out when I turned 16, I was a young junior. I would play my V card. My birthday was next Monday. What the hell does that guy want? He suddenly exclaimed. I drew my head back from Brandon, saw he was glancing past me. I darted and looked back, and my stomach plummeted. A guy on a motorcycle had pulled up right next to us, keeping pace with the car, checking me out. His helmet had a tinted visor, so I couldn't see his face, but I knew he was staring at my ass. First instinct dropped my butt in the seat and willing my body to disappear to a upholstery. Second instinct, stay where I was and glare at the pervert. This was my morning, my laughter, my first drive, and my boyfriend's luxurious sports car. After a summer spent in a fluorescent hill, I deserved this morning. When I twisted around to glare over my shoulders, I saw the guy's helmet had dipped, attention definitely on my ass. Then he slowly raised his head as if he was raking his gaze over every inch of me. I felt like hours passed before he reached my eyes. I tugged my hair off my face, and we stared at each other for long that I wondered when he was going to run off the road. Then he gave me a curt nod and sped past us, expertly dodging a pothole. Two more motorcycles followed, each carrying two people. They honked and cheered while Brandon's face turned as red as his car. I consoled myself with the knowledge that I'd probably never have to see him again. And that was chapter 1. Damn, 20 minutes? I'm a slow-ass reader. Page 15. Yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to read chapter 2 tomorrow, and I'm just going to read a chapter a day. Fuck it.